that my headphones weren't on. Huh?
Are they all the way up?
I'm not quite sure.
Yes.
What does that do?
That's
Okay. So I just wanted to let you know that we did do many takes as practice runs, but apparently that doesn't really matter. So for take 5,000, it seems like. But my name's Elaine Waterman. We're here for Second Friday at the Firehouse Art Center. And we are going to be debuting 3 artists for June. And our first 2 artists are Helios Lucida and Barbara Rudloff, and they offer 2 strikingly different takes on the genre of portraiture. And then upstairs, we're going to be visiting with Monica Carroll, who is our artist member feature for this month. And if you wanted to just follow me in for our gallery walkthrough, we are going to start out with our main gallery and Helios's show, Unusual Suspects.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Gutierrez and I'm the curatorial assistant here at the Firehouse, and I'm going to talk about Helios Lucida's work. The show is called Unusual Suspects. He's a Colorado artist, and the exhibition has 8 large portraits. All of them are oil paintings on canvas. The individuals in the paintings are mostly drag performers that he was actually invited to photograph over the span of several years. During that time, he really grew this appreciation for their amazing costumes, but also the characters and personas that they take on. Also included are self-portraits. But what really makes these paintings special is his ability to push portraiture towards abstraction. And what he does is really forces us to contemplate levels of self-expression, levels of representation, with these levels of paint, these layers of paint. It forces us to think about who is this person in the portrait, and then who are we on these levels of performance and identity. As we look through the works, I think the most exciting thing about them is the process and the technique and the application of the paint to these works. The texture is really something that you should see in person. I'm sure that videos and pictures just really don't do that justice. But what he does is he'll paint a portrait of someone in a traditional manner, but then use paint mediums or special brushes or palette knives to create these like crazy drips and like just rakes through the paint to create these like cool ridges and clumps. And it's very deliberate, but it creates something that is just so unpredictable and so exciting, almost to the point where it's unrecognizable. But yeah, I really hope that you can all make it through to see these in person. We do have the arrows taped to the floor for social distance practicing, so we want to keep everybody safe. But again, it's up till July 26th, and thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you, Grace. We are going to head up the stairs now to our Studio C pop-up, where Monica Carroll is going to highlight a surprising star of COVID-19 and quarantine. Our artist member program has 50 members right now. They are local artists in Longmont and Boulder County community. And walking into Studio C, we are going to find Monica and her wonderful work.
Hi, I'm Monica Carroll. I'm an artist member here at the Firehouse Art Center. And first, I just wanted to say thank you to the Firehouse and to Elaine for giving me a chance to share this project. It's great to see it installed in a place other than my studio. So I thought I'd share a little bit of the backstory of how this came about. It began 3 months ago, and had you asked me 3 months ago if I would be standing here in front of 27 12 by 12 oil on canvas still life paintings of a roll of toilet paper, I would never have predicted that. Um, it began with just one painting, kind of a typical day in my studio. Sometimes when I'm in between projects, I will just make myself go down there and paint. I had chosen a 12 by 12 canvas, and I chose this roll of toilet paper that had arrived via Longmont shuttle. And the story there was they had run a campaign early in the COVID 19 quarantine and were reaching out to local community members to support them in a way to keep their drivers on with work. So I admired their creativity in reaching out to the community and coming up with this idea. So I quickly purchased my 6 rolls of toilet paper, slightly overpriced, and I was happy to pay that. And sure enough, 24 hours later, I received the text from Longmont Shuttle that says your delivery is en route. I hear a knock on the door, and there is the driver, Joe, dressed impeccably, complete with white gloves, and he hands me my order of 6 rolls of toilet paper. So, partly because it was such an absurd experience and I wanted to kind of think about it, remember it, and partly as a shout out to my plan was to paint the image, post it on Instagram, and just sort of spread the word. And what surprised me as I did those things, there were a couple things that surprised me. When I did go to post it on Instagram, it was shocking how quickly people responded to this slightly quirky painting of a roll of toilet paper. And for me, that spoke to the way that this object has become a symbol of our time in such a swift fashion that was kind of unbelievable. And the other piece of that, too, which came up actually in a crit here at the firehouse with Brandy, was the way that an object can reflect a time period. And in the case of toilet paper, which apparently there's a great podcast on the history of toilet paper that Brandy has watched. I haven't watched it yet, but we talked about the fact that it was a luxury item early on and a sort of a status symbol. And so here we are in our time, and it's a more democratic object. And it's also an object that reminds us of the panic that was going on early in the quarantine. So I kind of sat with that as I painted these. And the other thing that was surprising to me is not only the way people connected to it and responded, saw a little bit of the humor, but also that for me, it was a great coping mechanism for my experience of the quarantine. It was the opposite of the days that many of us were experiencing of transitioning to a remote office, being on Zoom all the time, digesting way too many digital images where you don't get any answers, and it's exhausting to take in so much information. And so I was finding that as I went down to my studio to paint this small 12 by 12 canvas, it became kind of a meditative time for me to clear the mind. And in many ways, it's really the opposite of what we're experiencing as we all communicate remotely. I'm standing there in real time, real space with just one simple object. Painting, these are perceptual paintings. I'm painting from life, and I'm interested in light and color. And that's kind of what kept me going as well. My fascination with the mysteries of light and color and how we don't understand very much about how we perceive those things, and also the ways that color evoke emotion, strong emotion, and serve as symbols in so many cultures that speak beyond language. So all of those things kept me painting because the further I got into this project, the more I thought about the history of still life painting and this object in our time. Um, and as I hung them on the wall, this presentation as more of an installation rather than individual pieces came out of another interest I have, which is the way that social media is impacting the way we perceive the world. And I have used iPhones in some of my work to gather images. I've painted from those images and I've painted from life. And what I've done here, I purposefully selected a 12 by 12 canvas as sort of a nod to the Instagram square. And when I installed them, I did have in mind the scrolling feed of images that has become sort of the way we digest imagery. And then early on when I posted them, and I'll continue to post them, hashtag it's still a life under quarantine. I discovered people responded so well that they actually were purchasing them. And the first one I made is now hanging in a house in New York. And that struck me as fascinating that the art world is in a new era in which people will consider taking into their home, a physical object, a physical piece of art when they've only seen it digitally on Instagram. And I love that. It's, again, another nod to the democratic way the art world could be. It's just more accessible, and yet at the same time, the physical experience of paintings and texture and color in under natural light is very important to me. So what I'm trying to explore here is what happens when you take that circle of seeing images through an Instagram feed, but then coming into a real space and seeing them where scale comes into play, where the material comes into play, and hopefully you sense that these were slow, perceptual, meditative actions that led to these paintings. So I'm going to encourage you to come in and see them, because um, while museum, oh yeah.
Can we actually do like a closer up, because you were talking about the textures, I think it would be great to get more of a close-up look, so let's just.
Sure, yeah, and many of these, it's actually a pretty thin coat since they are quick paintings, and I find that that first pass is kind of the most natural and true pass. And then in others, you'll notice that I've come back and worked them over, and especially when you work with white, I find it challenging, letting light through the white of the canvas or not. And so all throughout, I'm sort of experimenting with different levels of thickness. With, I think this one's probably the thickest, or some of these.
Awesome.
So that's pretty much what I wanted to share and encourage you. Thank you for opening the doors of the firehouse. While people can't go to museums, it's great to know that you could come here. You have these? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Monica. We love to see the take that you had for your toilet paper rolls and how it became to be so much more meaningful than just, toilet paper. So we're going to head downstairs now to our South Gallery to meet Barbara Rudloff. And she is actually our summer artist in residence. And she's going to be working throughout the summer on a series of 12 by 12 oil portraits of lesbians within her social circle wearing their protective masks. So it is an honor to have her here as our artist in residence. And as we're walking through our main gallery again, we are going to come into the South Gallery. Just sneak in front of the camera and hand off the mic.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Barbara Rudloff. I'm the artist in residence this summer at the Firehouse Art Center. I'm super excited and honored to be here. We'll just take a little swing around the studio to show you what it's like. It's far more luxurious and well lit than what I have at home, so I'm super delighted to be here. I just wanted to show a few of my paintings. They'll be hanging up here over the summer, just to kind of give you an idea of the work that I do. This first one is called Drag. It's of me as a child, and the idea being, which is drag for me as a child? Is it the bow tie and the little pipe and the hat, or is it the little frilly dress? I think you know. The next portrait here is called You're Prettier When You Smile, which speaks to the fact that women are far too often told to smile or encouraged or ordered to smile, and we don't really care for that. This speaks to the exhaustion that we can feel when that happens. All of these portraits were to address issues that I, as a member of the LGBTQ community, have felt over the years. And so I went back and looked at pictures of my childhood and saw, there's kind of some themes here that I could use. Another one is, this one is called Dress Shoes. I didn't much care for wearing dresses, and when I was forced to, I would make a point of imposing my own personality here. So those were the shoes that I chose to wear with dresses. So that's classy. Anywho, what I'll be doing for the residency here, the project that I'll be working on, is going to be featured in a show in September called Seen. The show itself is called Seen. It's to do with the human impulse to be represented, just to be recognized and to kind of leave our mark. I'm going to be painting lesbians specifically because in my experience of studying art history and so on, and going around to museums around the world, I didn't see a whole lot of my people, as it were. I didn't see a lot of lesbian artists, and I didn't see a lot of lesbian subjects. So I'm going to do my bit to provide some representation and some visibility. I'll be doing 12 by 12 oil paintings. You can see this gorgeous subject here. Underway. It needs some work still. And I'll be here on Saturdays, most Saturdays during the summer, and I would encourage you to stop by, wearing your mask, of course. And you can ask questions about my process, or just have a look at and see how the progress is going. I'm going to try to get as many portraits painted as I can. It's a long process, but I'm going to rush through. You'll be able to get an insight into how I do it. For example, you can see here there's a grid over an image of myself, and that way I can fairly accurately transfer to the panel that it's painted on. So that's kind of an insight into how I work. I'm going to, given that it's Pride Month, I encourage you to wear your best rainbow gear when you stop by. And I'd also like you to share your selfies with us, whether you're a member of the LGBT community or not. We would be delighted to see pictures of you, especially in your COVID masks. Ironically, I think even though half of our faces are covered, we can still convey a tremendous amount of personality through what kind of masks we choose. Our eyes, of course, are very expressive. And more importantly, we're showing our character, that we care about the community by wearing masks out in public. We care about the health and safety of those around us. So send us your masked selfies on Instagram at #SeenAtFirehouse. And we will be so excited to see your selfies. I'm going to hand it back to Elaine now, the director of the Firehouse Art Center. They're a lovely group here. Hope to see you stop by. And fingers crossed, maybe we'll be able to see each other in person for the exhibit in September. So I'm going to hand this back. Bye.
It's amazing that it's a work in progress, and then the depth that you're getting in there already is just it's really striking.
Thank you. It's one of the things Eckhart Tolle, on the mic again. Eckhart Tolle, the philosopher, once said that to paint a subject is to give it attention and to really show, to honor the subject matter. So as opposed to just posting a photo, when you go to the trouble of trying at least to accurately represent someone in a painting, you're really showing all of that time and effort and attention that you invested in portraying someone. So that's part of the idea here too, is to honor the subjects and to have everybody be seen. That's really ultimately the hope. So that's my shtick.
Thank you so much. And definitely, Barbara is going to be here in residence at the firehouse for a couple of months. So hopefully there will be an opportunity for everyone to stop by. And I know that she mentioned that Saturdays from 12 to 5 that she'll be here. And we're also open that day just to come in. You don't need to make an appointment for Saturday. The other days that we're open, so Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we are also open and available from 12 to 5, but you do need to call in to make an appointment to come see the work, just so that we can kind of control the amount of people that are in here and to provide a safe environment for the community. So right now, we're not wearing masks, but we're still trying to keep our distance. We do usually wear masks, but as far as like a live presentation, it's probably not the best. So if you wanted to come out back into the main gallery, we can say goodbye and close our second Friday walkthrough. I just wanted to say we are making this walkthrough available because, there are some in the community that don't feel safe coming out to museums, galleries, just to be out and about. But we are still here. We're open and very happy to be reopening, but we're also happy to provide these virtual experiences for you during this time. Our Helios exhibit is going to be up until July 26th. Um, we also have other online opportunities that we are going to be sharing with you. We do have our kids classes that are virtual and live streamed Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. And we are also working with Koi Inc. and the Longmont Downtown Development Authority for a virtual art market series. It's the Art Walk Strongmont virtual market series, and you'll find information about that on firehouseart.org. So to close, I just wanted to say happy Pride Month. Uh, love one another, be kind. Also, we are standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, and if you wanted to come into the gallery, we have screens that you can print t-shirts. So come in with a light colored t-shirt, and we are offering screens, ink, an iron, and instruction, and you can print and cure your own t-shirt with a statement of support for Black Lives Matter. And also, I just wanted to show some examples of some of the kids' art that we are making in our live stream classes. And stay tuned. We're not done yet. We still have some more fun for Second Friday. In just a few minutes, we are going to be live streaming our online exhibit, Artists in Their Residence. It's our first online exhibit that we have ever put together as the Firehouse Art Center. But due to canceling Art Walk, we wanted to put out this exhibit to support our local artists and still have an opportunity for them to show the important work that they're doing. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes with our live stream of our online exhibit. And thank you so much for doing this gallery walkthrough with me. I'm so happy to have been able to share Helios Lucida's work, Monica Carroll's work, and also Barbara Rudloff's work. Bye, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes.